Another week, another candle. This is the weekly market forecast. We got Bitcoin pumping and oil is dumping. We have a lot of actions for gold. So we're going to have a lot of fun talking about this coming up after the intro. What's up, guys? This is JC and welcome to the Wealth Engineering channel. The more you pay attention to, the more aware you become. And in this channel, we pay attention to stocks, crypto, real estate, and business to find the best place to grow your portfolio. If this is something that interests you, I want you to smash the like button, subscribe, and click the bell. The first Sunday of every month, we look at the market and we do a monthly forecast. And every Sunday after that, we follow up on this prediction to see if we're on or off target. We had a lot of action on stock and crypto market this week. You came here for the truth. Let's just dive deep to it. As usual, I'm going to start with the S&P 500. But just before I start, I want to remind you that I currently have a 72% off the Technical Investor course. In this course, you're going to learn so much. For example, the history about money, how to use the forces that can affect your wealth to select your stocks and your cryptos to make sure that you're secure for the long-term investments. We talk about different ways to navigate the wealth cycle so that you can multiply your money. And I also have a section about personal finance, how to stay disciplined as an investor and make sure that you have consistently your money to multiply in your portfolio. And I also have bonus videos to make sure that you're starting on the right steps. Make sure I also address all your questions as well. So make sure you check this out, 73% off. It's one of the most underrated course online that is affordable. This course will never be at this price ever again, so make sure you check it out. With that said, let's jump into the chart. The S&P 500 on the short term, we talked about this pattern right here. It's been forming a resistance, and we had broken this resistance in the last 3 weeks. We have tested this resistance and it has become the new support. So we're still on an uptrend, and the news are actually good for the stock market because when you look at what the Fed is doing, is allowing banks to buy their stocks back, which is going to jump the stock market, which is going to have maybe we're also going to have other companies that's going to do the same thing. So this is very green for the stock market. And to me, that is scary because we have to stay true with the fundamentals. And the fundamentals says that, hey, this is a bearish divergence. And what a bearish divergence is one indicator is pointing downwards, whereas the prices are not following what the indicators are saying. And eventually, what always happens is the prices correct themselves to mimic what the indicators has been saying all along. And we had a 3 years bearish divergence forming on the stock market as a whole. This is the main reason why I do not hold any large cap companies. Right now, I have invested a couple of my portfolio into penny stocks because, hey, they're already low in the first place and they have a great potential to go super high on the future. So that's one of the reasons why I'm very invested right now in some of the penny stocks. I can make a separate video about that when the time comes. But if you are a member on my private group, you know exactly what I'm talking about because we discuss about that on a weekly basis. So the US dollar, we still had a bearish week for the US dollar. And right now we are testing a resistance for the US dollar. And it seems that we might even break it as I'm talking to you right now. But hey, this is something to keep in mind because as I'm talking to you, a couple minutes ago, Congress agrees to a $900 billion stimulus deal after months of failed negotiation. So that is going to lead to more US dollar printing. And we don't know how it's going to affect this chart right here. We're going to have to stay next week to see. But so eventually we might see a retest around this line. And if we have broken this red line right here, then we might see a rally back up on the US dollars. But in a nutshell, we're still on a downtrend here on the US dollars. And this downtrend's been going on for 5 years. And you know what that means. When it goes down for the US dollar, it's very good for gold. It's very good for cryptocurrencies. And when we look at the indicators on the weekly chart, we haven't really corrected yet. There is still some momentum on the MACD. The MACD is super low right now, so we might even go lower. And the ADX is also bearish. So the RSI hasn't really corrected and pointing up yet. And all of these indicators are actually lagging indicators. So there might be a lot of price action first before the indicators update themselves. So that's very important to keep in mind. But based on this long trend, what's currently happening right now may also not be very strong. We might see a retest on the RSI on this side right here. So that's also very interesting to see. So we're gonna have to wait and see how Q1 affects this chart, and also how this latest stimulus news affect the chart at the end of next week. But so far it's looking bullish. It's looking on a short term that it's going to pump the market. We have seen a couple of green candles that we haven't seen in a long while. So that's going to be interesting. I want to see if today we're going to close above this red line right here. If we do, then we might start to challenge around this white line. And if we don't, then we're just going to build more resistance around this red line. So that's very key, important. Now on the daily, it's a different story. The RSI actually touched the oversold area and then it's pointing up. We're about to see a cross, and the ADX is also starting to show some sign that it's about to cross as well. So on a daily chart, which is faster than the weekly, it's already starting to overturn. So the US dollar, we're going to see this. And remember, when the US dollars goes up, and remember, when US dollars goes up, it's bad for crypto, bad for gold. So we're going to wait and see. Now, this is the chart for crude oil right now, and we were doing very fine the last couple of weeks. For crude oil, we've been pumping all the way from here all the way there, and we're about to test the 49 level for a barrel of oil. And surprisingly, this giant red candle happened. And when you look at the chart even in more details, this happened the last 3 hours ago. So, and as I'm recording this, it's kind of like 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's very interesting. That tells me there is something that's probably happened in the market that's maybe affecting the oil price like this, because it was doing very well, and this is a massive dump. And it's interesting to see. Now, if I click on the news here, just to see what's been happening, because I'm very curious to see this dump right here. I wasn't not expecting this. Now I see here that China says aircraft carrier group on its way to South China Sea for drills. I don't know if that's strong enough to validate a giant dump like this. And since it happened 3 hours ago, let's see if we can find some news that can validate this. And I don't see anything. I'll have to pay attention to that overnight and tomorrow and see if I can find some news. But that's very interesting to see, because this is a dump, and that's going to affect the stocks as well, the oil stocks as well. So if you're invested in that, you want to pay attention to this tomorrow at market's opening, because something's going on in the market that's been affecting this, and see where it goes. And also on a daily chart, you can see that this is a nice market structure right here. It was going up and up and up, and it tested the oversold area right here. And look at the correction right here. So this is technically a normal correction. It's just happening too fast. It's happening too fast, and maybe something's going on that we don't know yet. Now, ADX is curving. MACD is building momentum. So we're going to wait and see what happens. But right now, on the daily chart for crude oil, this is a bearish engulfing candle. This is a reversal pattern. And considering that we have seen a market pumping for the last couple of days, actually in the last couple of weeks, it is fair to say that we're going to see a correction where the RSI is going to visit the 50 line. And that can make the price drop at least to the EMA 21 levels around right here. We could see a price correction there, and we can see what's happening. But I hope it doesn't happen by the end of next week, because that would have been too fast for the price of crude oil to drop, and that would symbolize a bigger problem in the economy as a whole, and especially when it comes to geopolitics. And now gold's been doing much better than oil this week. Last week I had this line right here because I was expecting something. We saw the early signs of an evening doji star candle. I'm happy to say that it did not happen, because if we had seen candle drop all the way here and close on this line right here, then that would have been a very bad sign for gold. And I don't like to see gold doing bad. Currently, I am not invested in gold. I prefer Bitcoin. I love to see gold doing well because gold is respecting the market fundamentals. When the US dollar is doing bad, you want to see gold doing good, because most people are taking refuge on gold to preserve their purchase power, because this precious metal is very large in demand, and it's always going to be needed. But hey, I'm going to make a video that maybe Bitcoin is more valuable than gold, and that's going to be an interesting video to make. But for the sake of the weekly market forecast video, on the short term, gold is doing well. Actually, let's put it on the daily. Yes, gold has passed the 50 line on the RSI with nice momentum building up. We have about a cross bearish on the ADX. And let's put it on a weekly and see what happens. Weekly, it seems that we're about to see a nice cross. It's not strong enough. I want to see this line curve on the upside and a bigger separation. A separation like this with the green line and red line. This is too close. So many things can happen on price reversal when gold is close like this on the ADX chart. So I want to see more. So what we can expect to see next week, maybe we might see a challenge on this orange line right here. And if we break this orange line right here, then we're in for almost $2,000 gold. So that's going to be interesting. When we look at monies being printed, and when you look at the banks, what the banks are currently doing, they're buying back their own shares. Other companies might be doing the same thing. This is a bad sign for the economy as a whole, and the smart money is maybe eyeballing gold right now and pumping gold prices. Bitcoin, look at this beautiful weekly candle that we just had. As we had broken the major big resistance for Bitcoin. And when we look at the Bitcoin chart on the weekly time frame, we still have some room to grow. I know that on the weekly we're oversold and we're extended, but look how strong that this line is. This line is almost vertical. So it still has some room to grow. All right. And if we can put it on a daily as well to get a more accurate result. Now it's starting to curve down on a weekly, but I think what's happening here, it's building some resistance. And I think we're almost at the big psychological level of $25,000 Bitcoin. So I think it's building up its momentum before it challenge and break this pattern. That's exactly what's happening right now. So MACD is still very high. The ADX on the daily is picking up strength with the gap very large. So that's interesting. I think we're still in for another big move, and not early, but I would say mid next week or even by Wednesday or Thursday, we might see a challenge past $24,000 Bitcoin, almost at 25. So at that point, it will be rejected and it might go sideways before it breaks it again. But I think if I had to predict for next week, I think mid next week, we might see $24,000, maybe 24.5K and a rally all the way to 25 and a rejection right after. So that would be my guess. But hey, at this point, it's uncharted territory and we need to see what the chart is telling us. Very quickly, I want to show up this chart right here. This is the BTC market dominance chart. Last week, we were debating whether the line here was the pattern or whether it was here. But here, now we know for sure. With this big candle right here, it validates that this was the line all along. So what I'll do is I'll do something like this. All right. And then I'll delete this. And this beautiful candle right here just proves that this was the pattern, but we have broken. This is a beautiful cup and handle pattern. And this is a pattern that can take some time to achieve itself, but what the destination price is at the end here, which is basically at 70%. And that means that we're heading towards 70% market dominance for Bitcoin. This is a major bull run push for Bitcoin, and that's gonna be bringing the price well above 25,000. We might even see 30,000. The question is, will we see this in 2020 or in 2021? What is clear to me based on this pattern is that we are officially going to close above 20,000 by year end. So that is clear based on this chart. We just have to wait and see what actually happens. And I think we will see at some point on Q1, definitely above 25,000, even $30,000 Bitcoin. Now, after this pattern finishes, we're going to have a small adjustment where this is going to correct itself. And then this is when altcoin is going to pump. So I think the best move right now, if you're interested in Bitcoin and altcoins and cryptocurrency as a whole, is to start loading on your altcoins. You should have been invested in Bitcoins long ago and be reaping your rewards right now. Now, what you need to do right now is check your altcoins and start loading to them. Because when this is going up, that means the altcoins are going sideways or they're going down. But right now, no altcoins is really going down. They're mostly going sideways. So you want to start loading on that. If you have some investment you want to make, this would be the investment. And with that said, let me jump straight on XRP right now. XRP had a massive pump and then it's been catching its breath. I think we want to see maybe a retest around this massive support. And I do not want to see this broken. Because if this is broken, then it's kind of like a bad sign for XRP. You might it's going to reach 30 sign, which will means I'm going to load up more on XRP. But I want to see XRP starting to reach $1 now. So I want to see a retest on this line and stay there while Bitcoin goes all-time high at 30,000. And then after, I want to see a pump all the way on XRP. And this pump is going to happen as fast as it did here. So that's what I would do. I would load up on altcoins right now, secure your portfolio, make sure you invest into your coins that you make your research. I'm not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. I'm just telling you what I would be doing, actually what I am doing right now, which is already loading up my account with altcoins and let my Bitcoin sit. The entire year of 2021, I'm barely going to sell any of my cryptocurrencies. I'm just going to add more to my holding and wait for the perfect timing to sell everything. So with that said, this video is long enough. I just wanted to make it super quick, but it's never that quick. And we'll talk on the next one.